Born in Rangoon, I believe.
Yes, that's right, yeah. My dad was in the army. Yeah, I was born in Mamio Cantonments. That gives it a bit of class, doesn't it?
Yeah. But in fact, you came to England, I believe, when you were 2 years old?
Yes, that's right. I don't remember anything about it. I was told I was sulking all the way because my orange rolled overboard.
Oh, beautiful. You joined the Marines at 17?
That's right, yes.
Can you remember what happened when you once missed your ship?
Yes. I got banged in the strongbox, is what we call it, like, you know. Yeah. And, well, I tell you what, it was a funny sort of situation. I went home to Manchester. Manchester obliged with its usual fog. And I was stuck on the station for about 3 hours. And I just said, I'll tell with this, I'm going back home again. And I just went overnight. Unfortunately, the ship had urgent sailing orders, and he shoved off. And when I got down to Plymouth, it wasn't there anymore. I said, you know, he was away with our ship then, you know.
Yeah, so you weren't really absent without leave, sort of intention?
I wasn't without leave, all right. I was banged to rights, you know. But the point is, it wasn't... it was the story of my life, an unfortunate set of circumstances, you know.
Well, one of the questions I was going to ask you sort of later on was, have you any pets? And I believe your pet dog has just come into the room.
It's not so much as a pet, really. It's the master of the bleeding house. I'm sorry, it's the master of the house. You'll have to cut that out. She's now demanding to go out of the door.
You went in the car spraying business?
Now, she's typical. Now, my wife's got all the way over there to open the door, let that dog out. That dog has gone under the table and has steadfastly refused to go out.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I mean about the master of the house.
Dogs are like that. We've got one exactly the same. Car spraying business?
That's right, yeah.
Staying it long?
Long enough nearly to lose my lungs, that's about all, you know. And, no, I didn't stay in it very long.
Joined the theatre workshop?
That's right, in Manchester.
Can you tell me exactly what a theatre workshop is?
It's a name, it's just no more than that. It was really, the name was, it implied that it was a place to try out ideas, you see, sort of beliefs. The truth of the matter was, I was in Rep at the time, and there, when we used to play all these plays that came down from the West End, and round about 1950, they still wrote plays where working men had big red spotted handkerchiefs, and all the maids had adenoids. All the working class people had adenoids. They spoken very they were all cripples or hunchbacks or something, you know what I mean? And we were playing it really to sort of a working class, middle class area, who actually believed all this, and they could see the evidence around them. It wasn't. And I got fed up with this. Because I wanted to go out and build, not necessarily a working class theatre, but a theatre that, you know, sort of tried to show a little more truthfully the differences in people, not class.
Back to yourself. Of course, the night that changed your life was when you met scriptwriters Simpson and Galton, and Steptoe was born. It wasn't at first thought to be a winner, was it?
I wasn't thought to be anything, really. It was thought to be what it was. It was part of a comedy playhouse series, and that it was left. A winner. I don't quite know what that means. It was considered good at its time. Let me put it this way. It's a very difficult thing because the comedy playhouses of that day were rather wonderful. You see, every author has within him something that he liked to write, which is pretty useless from a point of view of development. It is a marvellous idea, but it'll only go that once, right? So, Comedy Playhouse gave the excuses for these. And so one used to see marvellous things, which were vignettes, which you couldn't possibly extend into a series, and etc., etc. Now, I'm afraid, most of the work of that nature seems to demand that it will be extended into a series before it gets a chance to get on. So you no longer see the weird and the wonderful attacks that authors have. You know what I mean? Chekhov in his light moments wants to write his little one-actors. Sure, you know, they all write these marvellous one-actors where they let their hair down. Most authors are like that. And it's a shame that he's gone out of that period.
What do you think the formula is that makes Simpson and Galton such money spinners as far as whatever they write?
This is a difficult question to answer because it seems like an attack on other writers, which is not meant to be.
No, it's certainly not meant to be.
Galton and Simpson are what I call fully rounded or finished men. They have not stayed within they do not write from their youth or the deprivation of their youth. So many writers will write only from their youthful knowledge. The 30s comes up again and again, or, you know, the hard times of this. These are men who have progressed beyond that. They have bought themselves a Rolls Royce and had that period. They can write about bucket shops and investments because they've tried investments. They know about wine. Do you see what I mean? They've extended their knowledge I mean, you mentioned if we do anything about the 1418 war, both I and they know what the Schlieffen Plan means, and the sweep through Belgium, and the things that led up to it. Yeah. Because we are, I don't know how to put it, we're not just relying on to die in Madrid, or, the Spanish war is, and that's it, that is your full reference back. It's to see, that they've been able to see in perspective themselves. They've fitted into an advancing society. Hysterical.
Yeah. I noticed you've got a lot of sort of soldiers, pictures of soldiers all over your wall here. Great interest, is it?
It is now. I was in a really sort of messed up situation to a certain extent. Not greatly, not mentally. But you see, my father was in the Indian Army in India. I agreed that we not had actually oppressed India, but we had taken India to as far as it could go, and we should get out. And consequently, I was anti everything my father had done and people like him. Now that we have lost India, in effect, one can re-examine and reapprise the situation, free from all these, things about oppression. And you can see what wonderful work these men did, these Englishmen, who took out a standard of values of their own, which the surrounding sort of warring chieftains of the time found were better than the ones they particularly had as far as settling arguments went. They needed a referee of some kind. And these are just collections of the soldiers, actually, of the Indian Army of the time. I'm very interested in the Empire.
And the swords? And the swords?
The swords I just saw genuine cavalry swords, that's all, to give it a sort of a tone.
Very impressive, yes.
Well, you see, this is interesting. There's that single picture of a doctor, a very famous picture. Yeah, he's the last survivor of 30,000 men who retreated from Kabul. And these boys were taken from England, from, the Taunton, Somerset, all these places. And the first town they actually saw would be Bombay. They wouldn't see a town before. They'd never seen a big town. Of course, they went berserk. They didn't know where the hell they were. They went berserk. And they just sort of said to them, march that way. And they gave them food only to last 3 days. So they had to keep going. You know what I mean? They didn't know what it was all about when they got there. This is fascinating. And these boys who fought their way all the way up to Kabul, something they didn't know anything about, and fought their way all the way back again. And only one man out, 30,000, came out of it, It's horrible. Yeah. But it's part, one's got to appreciate this is part of our heritage.